that potential relationship, that situationship that you so desperately wanted to work, God blocked it. And we're going to talk about it. But before we talk about it,
and we're Terrence and Jill of God-Ordained Union. We're here to do one thing and one thing only, and that is to help increase God-Ordained Unions.
Yes. We are so pro-marriage.
Yes.
And we are pro-marriage, not political, not as religious activity, any of that. But we know that when two come together, things multiply. Right? God favors the union of two. And so on this channel, we are, as my husband say, we are here to, we're on a mission to increase God-ordained union. So if you're single and you're desiring marriage, you're praying for it, you want your person, we wholeheartedly understand, because that was our story. We were single for a long time before we met each other. I was hitting 50, never had any children, never had an engagement, was never married, of course. And I was wondering, where was my person? I was praying, I was asking the Lord, I was seeking the Lord, and then He brought my person. And we here on this channel, we want to encourage. How old were you, baby? You were 54?
I was 52 when we met.
Yes.
55. 54 when I watched you walk down the aisle.
Yes. So I think I was 48 when I came across your profile on the dating site, and 52 when I walked down the aisle. So we know how you feel. We know how it feels to be in the waiting room. So you are on the right channel. On this channel, we encourage those who are single, who want to be married, because we're pro-marriage.
Yeah, and we're your biggest cheerleaders.
We're on the internet. We're your biggest
exactly
cheerleaders.
What you've been going through.
Yes.
We've been through it, and we're here to help cheer you on, raw you on, give you a dapper boy, encourage. We are here to say, look, you ain't in this by yourself.
But the thing is that we're cheering you on to wait for and not settle
for God's person for you.
Right. So we're here to encourage you to get to your person, for your person to come to you. And so, but also on this channel, see, the enemy doesn't want you to be married. So also on this channel, we expose the trick schemes and plans of the enemy. And a lot of times the enemy is stuff that is in us that is causing us to block who God has for us. And so we talk about all this on this channel. So make sure you subscribe, turn on your notifications and all that to know when we go live, when we meet in our private groups. You're welcome to join us in a private group to know when we're dropping pre-recorded videos like this, to learn more about our ebook, our one-on-ones, all of that. Just go down to the description. All of that is listed. We also have a weekly prayer call. So all that, go to the descriptions. Also follow us on IG, because that's, where
that's where we talk about our day-to-day.
Our day-to-day.
Who we are,
what we be doing. We're homebodies. Just in case you went to IG and you can't figure it out, like, we could think of 105 things to do in the house, and we're happy about it. All right. So the Lord gave me this message. Y'all know, if y'all been rocking with me, those who've been rocking with us for a long time, y'all know that it's just a couple of times out the year that the Lord will give me a message to give to you all. He speaks to me all the time, but to give a message to you all. And so for the last couple of days, I've been hearing the Lord say to you all that God blocked it, that He blocked it. He blocked it. That thing, that situation, ship, or that prospect that you have been holding on to, and then it came to an end. If it was abrupt end, or maybe it was lingering for a long time and it ended, God blocked it. And so for so often, we have so many videos about being ghosted, and we always point the finger back to something that you could be doing wrong. And the Lord even pressed upon me to say, in this situation, and you know who you are if this applies to you. In this situation, it was nothing that necessarily that the other person did. It was just not your person, and God blocked it. God blocked it because He has so much more for you.
Yes.
And so the question is always on the table of why would God allow someone to come into our lives and then, quote unquote, block it or take it away. And the truth of the matter is that we have free will. Like a lot of times we're choosing these people and then, when it gets unbearable, we're asking God to step in. And so, and a lot of times we're praying for the thing to work the way we want it to work. But you get to the point where you say, Lord, it's in your hands, even though in our head we want it to be, but, and so He will intervene and he will do what He needs to do. And so,
and look, not to cut you off, baby, but there is one person for you. So there's going to be several people you're going to meet in your lifetime that's not meant to be in your life for a romantic thing. You know what I mean? It's so it could be, it could be so many other reasons why you meet people. Everybody isn't coming into your life for you to have a romantic relationship with or to be married to. It's one person that you want God to introduce you to. Everybody else, we really have to go through this process of learning why this person was introduced to us or why they crossed our path.
And why we feel rejected. Because oftentimes what's happening is that, we want this thing to work so bad with this person. And again, whether it ends abruptly, whether it didn't have a chance to even get off the ground, or whether it's been lingering for a long time, and then it ends so often, it makes us feel rejected. Right. It makes us feel rejected. So we want to talk about the Lord gave us the reason why. First of all, it's in our weakness that the Lord rises up strong. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times, first of all, God is not out to hurt us.
Right.
He's not out to hurt us. But sometimes when we make decisions, we can fall down and skin our knees. Mm-hmm. And the great thing is that the Lord is a healer. So, when we talk about the grand scheme of things, a little bruised ego is, it's no comparison to what you're about to destroy your life. Mm-hmm. So even if we feel that rejection, God is working the bigger plan. And so we want to talk about, feeling rejected, what happens when God closes a door, when He blocks a prospect, and what happens to those feelings of rejection, what God is doing with that. And so it's not just for you to sit in that rejection. God is really moving in this. And so the Lord has given me and given us this word of encouragement for you. So there's 6 things that happens, or it could be more, but these are the ones that the Lord gave us. 6 things that happens is that when the Lord blocks a potential relationship and you're feeling rejected, what that rejection is going to do for you is one of 6 things. So one of the things that rejection often does is that rejection leads to submission. And so He will allow that blocked door, that rejection for you to submit back to God, to His authority and to His will, and to get unto Him, and to be comforted by Him, and to rest in Him, and to go and trust in Him, and to learn what He has for you, and not what you want out your own selfish endeavors or selfish pleasure.
Yeah, and that we have to really understand that God knows it all. He knows the beginning and the end. He knows what you need right now, but also what you're going to need 5 years from now.
Yes.
So we have to understand that when things happen, you might not have all the information, but you have to trust him.
You got to trust
that, because his word says he's working everything out for your good.
Yes.
So you have to trust that there's something going on a whole nother level that you don't know all the answers to or all the information to, but you have to surrender. You have to submit to say, Lord, I know you know best. And I know I don't understand why this is happening, but I trust you.
Right.
And submit to him and submit to where his leadership, and that he knows best for you in that moment when you don't know everything.
Right. And so it's 6 points of rejection. And I want to use, when I say this is so personal, this is so personal because the guy that I was seeing before Terrence, which was back in 2012, 2013, which was maybe like 5 or 6 years before Terrence. And this is when I was in Maryland. But I had met this guy. He was, I don't even know if he was a Christ follower. Like, let me just be honest. Like, he checked all the boxes as far as success and money and profession and education and all of that. And he wasn't one of the guys that I can say broke my heart or anything, but it came with a lot of disappointment and rejection. And so I was really disappointed because he was what I felt was my last opportunity to become a mom, to have, and so when I met him online. When I met him, we started dating, and, he had grown children, but he was like in the beginning, oh yeah, I would want to be a parent. Of course, why wouldn't I want to give my wife a child or whatever? And so at that time I was like 42, 43, and the relationship wasn't moving fast enough for me. And I was getting very, very anxious. And so it abruptly ended. It ended. It was like, cause he was like, I'm just trying to get to know you. And I'm like, I want a baby. Like, and so, but it ended. It didn't. It was. We were dating for almost 2 years or so, but it ended. When I say abruptly, because it ended like one day we were having a great conversation, and I had was at his house or he was at my house, and then I didn't hear from him anymore, and so that's why I said it was abruptly ended. But number one, and it did trigger rejection. And but number one, what it did was it rejected me to submission, because because it was like I had been out of fellowship with the Lord, so it did reject me into resubmission to the Lord. So
wow.
Number two is that rejection often leads to protection.
Yeah, this right here is, God knows we're not perfect, but there's a time when we still miss stuff. We still might be missing red flags. We still might be missing a direction that he told us to go, or we're not hearing him clearly. And we're just missing some key things, but God will still protect you. He will still protect you by saying, this isn't good for you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to protect you and get you out of this relationship.
Do you know how many people marry guys and and women, let me just say, and they don't know if they're, have some type of disease. They don't know if they're on somebody's list, pedophile list, or some type of and so a lot of times, we're wondering, well, why did it end? And we don't know what God is protecting us from. They could be a fugitive. They could be They could be in polygamy. They could be on a DL. We just don't know. And so a lot of times, when God, blocks the thing, and although we may feel rejected, that rejection is often protection. That rejection is often protection.
And it's funny because we pray and we thank God for the things that we know he's done. But think about how many attacks from the enemy that God is protecting us from every day, and we're not even aware.
We're not even aware.
He didn't let the enemy get close enough for you to even feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And you have no idea that he's there protecting you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, like you said, this might be something that you needed not to be a part of.
Right.
And you missed some clues, you missed some red flags, you missed some things that were going on, and you're still in this relationship. And God is saying, no, this ain't, you're my child, and I have something better for you, and I need to get you out of this.
Right, right. Number 3, rejection often leads to reposition, because a lot of times we get out of alignment, and God says, no, I have a purpose for you. Yes. Not only do I have a purpose for you, but when I send your person, there's a purpose for the both of you. And so you're out of alignment. Yes. This person, is gonna end up being a dead situation. I love you too much to allow you to marry this person, to be with this person, and it's out of alignment, it's out of position. So a lot of times that rejection will lead to repositioning, realignment. And so,
wow.
Number 4, rejection often leads to introspection.
This is one of my favorite words. I love introspection because I think there's so many things that we learn. And in this case, you're going to learn some things, like you may learn with introspection in this case that you need some healing. You might learn that you need to be delivered in a certain area.
Rejection.
Because from the rejection. So you're going to learn something with introspection, about yourself that you need. And this will be the time that's where rejection is going to send you. It's going to hit you to a point where you're going to have to do some introspection.
Right.
And when you do, you're going to learn something about yourself that you didn't know before.
Yeah. So when the guy abruptly left, when I say I cried for the entire year of 2013, I cried. I was still living in Maryland, and I cried just about every day. I was so... This is what introspection did. I was not crying over him because, to be honest, I was settling and I knew it. I wasn't crying over him. I was crying, one, because of the rejection, which brought up wounds that made me know I'm still dealing with the spirit of rejection. But I was also mourning the fact that I probably was not going to be a mom. So I had to look at it as it was, which was so deep. The introspection was so deep, because let me tell you what it when I say it literally took me through a tunnel of introspection. So I went through the motions of not being knowing that I was not going to be a mom, all the way to the point of, but did you really want to be a mom, or was it something you wanted to check off your list? It got real deep. And that whole year, it allowed me to really dig deep. Would you really want to be a mom with a toddler in your 40s? And this is not diminishing motherhood, because I believe that's one of the greatest gifts ever. But for Jill, for me, I had to do some real deep soul searching. And I had to, and even, of course, with the guy too, did I really want him, or did I really want a baby daddy? Did I really only want, his
let's even take it deeper. You might not have wanted a baby daddy. You just wanted a baby.
Right. But I'm saying he had right. But it even was deeper, because it's like, did I really want a baby? It caused me to really, really do some deep introspection. That rejection really caused me to do some deep introspection. And I promise you, by the time, so that was like 42, 43. By the time I turned like 45, I was healed from, like, it didn't sting anymore. I would have loved to, of course, I often think about, how our children would have looked, our biological children would have looked, which probably would have looked like the kids we have now. But it allow introspection, that rejection, if you allow it to, it will really let you go into some deep parts. And that's where God wants us to go. That's where, and sometimes he allows the block and the rejection to take you there, and for him to, really say, I'm a healer. I want you to come to truth with who you are and why you feeling this way and why you're desiring this thing and why do you really want that person and do you really want that person? And so, rejection often leads to introspection. And then number 6, rejection often leads, no. Number 5, rejection often leads to redirection. It often leads to redirection.
Yes, and that really just talking about how you might be going in a certain direction. And when that rejection happened, again, through introspection and some other things, it just got you to a point where you realize maybe that wasn't the right direction to go in the first place.
Right.
Maybe I ought to try this way.
Yep. And so that's what happened to me. So 2013, the whole year I cried. I was doing introspection. I was rejected because this guy didn't want me. And I was doing the introspection. And then the redirection came. And I got a phone call. I've told this testimony many times on other videos. But I got a phone call on New Year's Day 2014. New Year's Day 2014, after crying all 2013. New Year's Day, I got a phone call from a former college buddy. We were in grad school together. We were in our nonprofit master's program together. And she had just taken a position as the executive director for a $20 million nonprofit in North Carolina. And they needed a consultant to come in and do a reorg of the organization. And she thought about me. She reached out to me and said, Jill, would you be interested? Now, it's a whole video about this because if I was going on my ego, my pride, my unforgiveness and all of that, I would have rejected her. But because I was like, you know what? God has taken me into a new direction. He's redirected me. I listened to her offer and I took the offer and I started commuting back and forth to North Carolina until a couple of months after doing that. I said, you know what? There's nothing in Maryland holding me but my condo. That was all, my home. That was it. And I ended up getting a tenant for my home in Maryland. And I got an apartment in North Carolina. And this is what happens. And so so a lot of times, if we just allow that rejection to do what it needs to do to take us through the feelings and allow God to carry us through. Because a lot of times we say, well, I just want you to take it away. A lot of times the Lord says, I'm going to carry you through this because there's some things I want you to learn in this. There's some things I want to redevelop you in this. I'm allowing all this to happen because all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord or who are called according to his purpose. So he's carrying us through it. And so the sixth thing that rejection will do is it'll cause motivation. Sometimes a rejection will cause motivation. Yeah. And that a lot of times that's motivating us to move on.
Because at the end of the day, again, we're human and a lot of us procrastinate. A lot of us know we have been in relationships that we shouldn't have been in, or we was in a relationship longer than we should have been in it, and we haven't pulled the plug on it. So God gets the other person to pull the plug.
The other person to pull the plug.
And now you feel rejected.
You feel rejected.
And as a result, you also feel probably like, well, I done hit rock bottom. Because I knew I should have left that person.
Right. Let me just move on. Yeah. It just motivates you to close it. And if you don't feel motivated to close it, you're going to probably repeat the cycle. You're going to repeat the cycle. And so God often used, closed doors and block relationships. And he'll allow it to happen because he loves us, because he cares too much for us to see us in a dead situation, especially when we ask him to intervene. And so sometimes you want him to intervene and it ain't looking like how you want him to intervene. But if you say, Lord, do what you got to do. What he got to do sometimes will hurt us. Sometimes will lead to rejection or feeling rejected. But that rejection often leads to a greater and a better outcome if we allow it.
Absolutely. And I got 2 points I want to make before we end this.
Okay.
Number one is I really want y'all to grasp this. Okay. When you're in a relationship and it's not the person God has for you, whether you understand it or not, it doesn't matter who does the breaking up. The breakup has to happen in order for you to get to your person that God has for you and the other person to get to the person God has for them. So you need to put yourself in a heart posture, in a mindset to the point to where you remember God's word. That way, when something happens unexpectedly and you feel rejected, you can be reminded, whether it's in the introspection, whether it's in the redirection, whether in one of those positions, you need to be reminded that God has got you and he's going to work all this out for your good.
Right.
That way you don't trip longer than you should that the other person broke up with you because you felt like, man, I should have broke up with that person. Now you're upset or whatever. Get over it. It don't matter who does the breaking up when you're in the wrong relationship. The breakup needed to happen. God's still going to use it. The other point I want to make is this. Every time God closes a door, it makes room for what's next.
For the new.
For the new. So don't think when a door closes, your story is ended. No. God said, no. I'm getting ready to start a new chapter. And I needed to close this one so this chapter here can have the best possibility of going where I'm going to take you. So when he closes a door, all he's doing is making room for the new and what he has coming for you next.
But if you're holding on to the door is completely closed and you're holding on, but I need closure.
Yes.
I need closure.
You're trying to prolong it because you think
he should have. Why would he ghost me? Why would he could at least? I'm going to find out why he ghosted me. He could have had to curse it. And he's supposed to be a man of God. And why would they just da 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 da?
And it goes back to us saying in previous videos, put your expectations in God, not in the other person.
Yes.
That way, when something like this happens, you can say, God knows more than I do. He knows the beginning and the end. He loves me. He will never hurt me. So now you, by putting it in God's hands, by keeping your mindset of knowing what the word says, now you can trust his word and say, this might sting for a moment, but God has got me and this is going to work out for my favor. So you can start looking forward to what he has for you next versus thinking you need closure when God is closing the door for you so he can move you forward to something that he has better.
Right. And rejection often leads to motivation. Number 6 is also a faith move.
Yes.
And so it's closed, but when you can say, I'm moving on, that's a faith move because you really at that point, and I mean, if it was anything like how I was, I moved on. I didn't call the dude. I didn't, and as much as I was disappointed and I was feeling rejected, I was hurt. I moved forward. Like, one thing I ain't gonna do, I ain't gonna beg you. I'm not gonna, especially if I don't really like you like that. Like, I mean, I'm just not. And I moved. This sounds ego. But the point is that um, whether it's closed in your eyes or not, if you're motivated to just move on and just it's going to be what it's going to be, is already that's a faith move. That's moving, and you're saying, I trust you, Lord. I don't know where you taking me. I don't know what it's going to lead to. I mean, I couldn't see past nothing. I was like, I had tears every day. I couldn't see nothing. I was moving. I was drifting from day to day. I mean, day to day, I didn't know what I was listen, I was going from day to day, trying to figure out life day to day, moving forward. And when that opportunity came for me to take the consulting gig in North Carolina, I was like, you know what? It was another faith move. Like, listen, I'm going to just do it. Even a couple of months after that, when I was like, you know what? It's another faith move. I'm just moving to North Carolina. It was another faith move. And God honors when you making faith moves, when you're trusting him and you can't see past, what's right in front of your face, and you just trusting God. I don't need to know all the answers. I don't need to see all that. I've just learned how to just trust you day by day.
And that is huge, to say what you just said. You don't have to have all the answers. You just know to trust him. That is huge.
Yeah, which goes back, because we always talk about, we get a lot of email and a lot of comments about people saying, show me the signs, asking God to show me the signs. So what happens is that when you put your faith in the Lord and you're going, day by day, walking by faith, he will show you signs that you didn't even ask for. He will start to show you things. He will start to bring prophetic words that you ain't even asked for. That this is what happens when you're trusting the Lord and you're walking day by day. He says every day in the wilderness, he gave them manna daily. And so what happens is that each day it's like going down a dark road. Your headlights can you can see just so many feet in front of you. And so that's what happens, is that he will start to show you. He will leave breadcrumbs. He will start to show you, like, day by day, like little signs. That is, and I'll never forget. I had, and this was like after I had moved to North Carolina, and I want to show y'all this. After I had moved to North Carolina, and I was like, it's just gonna be me and you, Lord. I don't know what's going on. I don't know too many people in this state, and I'm just over that guy. I'm moving forward with my life. I don't know what I'm doing. One day I was in my neighborhood in North Carolina, and I was taking a walk. And I want to show you this picture. I looked up in the sky, and I have to show you this, y'all. Please bear with me. I wasn't planning to do this, because if I was, I would have had it ready. Hold on.
Yeah, that's why you definitely got to have faith in him. And that's why we are stressing in every video, every live that we've done. We've always stressed, start now building your relationship with God. So beyond, that he's got you. Because if you get in the habit now, before you meet the person, then you will be so much further ahead when you do meet the person, and you know what he sounds like when he's speaking to you. You know what he sounds like when he's directing you somewhere. So
you know what his nose means. You know
what his relationship right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what his voice sounds like. You know when it's, because I knew it was uneasy. I knew
absolutely
with the when I was with the guy, I knew it felt I was out of alignment. I just wanted what I wanted. I wanted a baby,
and that's in love. That's what.
And the Lord said, "Well, you don't hear me. Okay. I can show you better than I can tell you."
That's what human beings do. They want what they want when they want it.
Lord said, "No, I got somebody that I have for you, and I'm still working on him, and I'm gonna work on the both of y'all." Okay, so here it is. So I was going. So this says, okay, June 3rd, 2018, and I think that was the month. I think I came across Terrence's profile. So this picture right here, I don't know if you could see it. I was taking a walk through my neighborhood, and I saw this up in the clouds. And if you can't make out what it looks like, to me, it looked like a lion, a roaring lion. And when I say that thing shook me, that thing shook me. That was June 3rd, 2018. I think in July, I think a month later, I came across Terrence's profile on that dating site. But so when I'm saying that to say, when God is ordering your steps, you don't have to ask him for signs. You don't, because that's, to me, that's saying you don't believe him.
Right.
He will start to show you things when you ain't asking. He will start to show you. You be like, what? And
you
so
just got to understand that you have to be in alignment. You have to be obedient. You got to listen to what he's telling you.
His word says, no good thing will I withhold from you if you walk upright before me, if you're in alignment with me. No good thing will I withhold. So he'll start to reveal things to you. He'll start to show you things, and things will start to unfold. But it comes with, sometimes it comes with feeling bruised and hurt and
feeling by yourself
you
and
think
that you're going through this by yourself and nobody else has ever experienced these before.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
Please. My 40s has some bumps and bruises, some real bumps and bruises. And so, yeah.
But that's why this video is so important. You need to know that every rejection isn't the enemy doing something. Sometimes God says, I need to protect you from you. He's going to,
I got this.
Yes, he's going to pull you out of a situation.
Yes.
So with that being said,
y'all drop the comments.
Say
you're moving on. Say you're moving on. You got the message.
Yeah. So with that being said, we pray this leads you back to the word. It leads you back to what God his word has said about your situation.
Yes.
And it leads you to looking for what the Holy Spirit is trying to show you.
Yes.
And with that being said, we look forward to seeing you guys in our next video.
Peace.